Recording on OBS has started. Welcome everyone to another episode. Let me just get the insurance policy going in here. You're going to hear now recording start up any minute now.
Now recording.
Just like that. That's not in the video. Hello everyone. We're here today with another episode. Ryan, for whatever reason, wants to watch the Superbowl. He's going to come in later. And so is Kyle. Dog, look at this matchup. Kansas City Chiefs versus the Philadelphia Eagles. This game sucks. There's a reason I'm not watching this, because I didn't want to see either of these teams participate in the Super Bowl. Well, maybe they're going out like horribly off script, because the last time the Kansas City Chiefs has gone has just been the Taylor Swift show, and that's it. So, but I don't know. Maybe this is the day that everybody realizes that Patrick Mahomes has no talent. Fingers crossed. That this guy's doing such a good job. All right. We got two different guests with us today. We got King of Greed, and we got someone new with us today, H3B. 3HB. Just referred to him as 3 for the purposes of the episode. He has been in the server for a while, and now he's here. So,
hello,
and we're going to talk about Project Twilight today. We're going to talk about Baby's First Red Pill, the book. I don't know.
It's very funny.
Yeah. King with his glorious microphone. Yeah, this is Galliard group. If there's one thing consistent with our channel, we cannot do audio mixing whatsoever. Pray that we never go into music. So let's get this. Let me get my notes on Project Twilight up. Okay. Just checking out what we've got. Okay. I think we're ready to begin. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to shut this music off. Okay, let's get into it. So, who wrote this book? Does anyone know? It was one Bill Bridges who made this. A guy that wrote Shadow Lord's First Edition. He wrote a lot of stuff for Werewolf the Apocalypse. He is in his wheelhouse with this book. I'm very happy. If I were to pick one guy to write majority of Werewolf, it would probably be him. Though Ethan Skimp is a close second. But this reads like Werewolf the Apocalypse. Just what you would expect from it. There's no bullshit. There's no continuity snarls or anything like that. This is just Werewolf as it is written. And do you play as werewolves in this book? No, you play as agents. King of Greed, you've been in a Hunter the Reckoning game that I've run. You weren't necessarily a hunter. You're going off the Hunter X book, but, you know, same difference, all the same.
Yes, the Shaolin Vampire Hunter.
Now tell me, how hard is it to be a hunter in the World of Darkness?
Oh, very hard. They have a very high death rate.
Very high death rate indeed. Where something you begin to realize with the imbued is that they're all very expendable, but you're not even imbued for this book. You're just a guy. You're just a guy that's picked up off the street and told, hey, I guess we're doing vampires now. I guess we're doing werewolves now. This is Project Twilight. Yeah. You're playing human, the normal person, essentially.
Well, that's Hunter Hunted.
Yeah, you get to realize just how well, even with Hunter Hunted, you still had stuff like the Youngbloods and the Children of Osiris. You had a supernatural element. In this, you got nothing. You're just...
Well, you have special powers. We'll get to that further in the book.
Have either of you played Hunter the Vigil?
Yes.
Yeah, with Hunter the Vigil, you are... Well, Hunter the Vigil ruins this because they have, like, supernatural stuff you can end up taking. I think that kills the appeal and the draw to Hunter the Vigil, but I digress. Where you are just a guy hunting werewolves and vampires. You've got nothing but the gun in your hand and the shirt on your back, and that's it. It's a vigilante simulator, and it's fun until they start bringing in stuff like the Lucifuge. If I were to ever run Hunter the Vigil, that would be immediately banned. I would not allow any of that. You are playing as an agent of the U.S. government in Project Twilight. There's an entire adventure module for you in the back, but let's actually explain how much does the U.S. government know? How much do you think the U.S. government knows? Greed, you've read this book, haven't you?
Yeah, I haven't. I have it on copy in my PDF.
3, how much of this have you read? Are you familiar with this book?
I have read book once, and I have it on standby for reference as well.
So, you already have an idea as to how much the U.S. government knows about the World of Darkness. How much do they really understand about what they're talking about?
Oh, barely anything at all.
Barely anything. And whose fault is that? In the World of Darkness, whose fault is this? Technocrats, right? that the technocrats are puppeteering the U.S. Well, every government really, and limiting how much they know. So, yeah, the technocrats are very fun to look at because that is shadow government, but the U.S. government itself doesn't know that much about World Darkness at all.
To be fair, despite how werewolves are portrayed in you've seen Johnny's games, despite how he portrays werewolves are actually rather competent at hiding themselves.
Yep. We're running very chaotic games. I'm telling war stories. Kyle's game is a more accurate depiction of this. Where
Kyle's game is more accurate. I mean, sometimes it's more light on the player characters. I won't lie, but his is more accurate.
Mm-hmm. You gotta tell him about this. You gotta boost up his confidence about this.
No, he's doing a great job, but in reality, the player character should have definitely got somebody came back for round 2 and punched them in the face for all the shit they kept pulling.
You want to go to another round with Insta Road? Let's see. And
I look here. You're big and mighty until you get shot 4 times with 8 dice pools.
So taking a look at this, in the first chapter of this book, you get character creation rules. You get your nature, demeanor. Your categories for attributes are 6, 3, and 4. You get 11, 7, 4 with your skills. You get 3 points of advantages, and backgrounds. Though you get a free 3 allies, a free 2 in influence, and a free 2 in resources. Follow that up with 3 points of willpower and 21 free points. And there you go. You can have Numina abilities, like the simple stuff like clairvoyance, pyromancy, that kind of stuff. I honestly don't like the idea of that. I'd rather you just play a human going up against the forces of evil. I didn't feel this way look at the Kinfolk book. And that's because the Kinfolk were right next to the werewolves with the werewolves, where, once again, if you're going to ask me, do I want to play as Space Marine or do I want to play as the Imperial Guard, I'm picking Space Marine every time. I don't see why I would ever pick a Kinfolk over a werewolf. But with this, I see the appeal. Because you're from the outside looking inside, when you think you're on the inside, but you're on the outside. You think you have everything under control. You think you're the FBI, you're the CIA, you know what you're talking about. You don't. And you very quickly begin to realize just how little you understand. Well, with the Kinfolk, it feels like you have an understanding, and then you just can't do anything with it. I'd rather have, I'd rather you keep the mystery in the box than open up the box and show me what's inside of it and then tell me I can't touch it. I'd rather have that between the two.
I mean, if you play this game, it'll feel like it. You know what's going on, and you can't do shit about it.
You can't do shit, and that's exactly what it is. It's what's so appealing to me about Project Twilight, because it's this massive rug pull is what you've got. In terms of what merits and flaws, there's only 3 in here that I thought we're talking about. You can be a Garo Kinfolk for 4 points. You could be an unknowing Garo Kinfolk for 2 points. Or you could be worm tainted for 4 points. That sounds fun.
Oh, let me get to the merits and flaws because this is so fucking funny.
What else is in here? Agent Insider for 3 points. Bureaucratic Vendetta for 2 points. Blackmailed for 1 to 2 points. Debts for 3. There's a flaw in here that's called Female. That's a 1 point flaw. And that looks really bad at first, but then you begin to realize, oh, wait, no, they're making a statement here. Because this G-Man kind of workspace is a sausage fest, and women tend to get the short end of the stick, where nobody takes you seriously, nobody wants to hear anything you say, and you have to work twice as hard to be treated on the same level as a man. So it looks bad, but no, you're actually saying something kind of based here. Like it's liberal, but it's based.
About that, because I love that flaw. Female.
Female.
And I won't lie, in real life, if you go to any of these highly dangerous professions, they're 90% dudes. Of course, if you show up the one chick, it's going to stand out.
Because who are you going to take more seriously when you get pulled over? A woman cop or a man cop, in all honesty?
Man.
Yeah. That's exactly right. It's just a man is just biologically more intimidating than a woman. I'm sorry. It sounds politically incorrect for me to say, but I'm speaking what's the fucking sad but honest truth here. And
but I'll take the last merit, and the funny merit.
It's read to us what this merit does.
No. Keep going with it's a flaw.
It's a flaw. I'm looking at this. You're looking at minority.
Yep.
Once again, another thing that looks really bad until you actually read the description and see, oh no, you're actually pointing out another injustice.
Yeah, I won't lie. I can understand the female one because that one makes sense in my this one, minority one. Like that one wasn't necessary, but I understand.
Now in 2025, you could take DEI as a 1 point merit.
No, at this point it's a flaw, but
This is me cackling. This is me being evil. In page 24, you get your list of equipment, where everybody gets bullets. You work for the government. Everybody's going to get a bullet. You don't have to ask for it like you do in Freak Legion. You can get rubber bullets, armor piercing, hollow point, silver, dragon's breath, or exploding rounds. Where you have to get
I mean, you need ranks.
Yeah, you start off at rank 0. You get like rank 1, rank 2, rank 3, depending on how good of a job your agent does. Silver bullets, the book says, are not that difficult to smith and come across. But the question is, why are you carrying silver bullets? These bullets cost more than the lead bullets. You really gotta justify why you're asking the U.S. government, can I please have this in my magazine?
It's like because you're playing in an actual organization that tracks their stuff. And let me put this like here: if you all of a sudden someone ordered a whole clip for a machine gun of silver bullets, that's just what?
Like, why are you asking us to spend this much money on what's going to be one job? Because only SAD and NSA know that werewolves are real. The rest of the U.S. government doesn't. And both these groups are keeping that information close to their chest because they realize what's going to happen if the general public knows that werewolves and vampires are a thing. You know.
Oh, the world's gonna get fucked up with real.
Yeah, it's gonna be mass hysteria. You saw how people reacted during the pandemic. So imagine that response when you find out the vampires are real. People are gonna lose their fucking shit about that. And what else is in here? You got armor. You've got communication devices, computers, drugs. You're able to give yourself painkillers and human tranquilizers. I love taking Special K before I go out and clock in on the job. Lab equipment, polygraph devices, truth serum. What else is in here? Night vision goggles, cameras, gas masks, pepper spray, tear gas. You're able to get access to records, surveillance equipment, transportation equipment, and weaponry. I love that military jet is a 5 point. It's a 5 rank. We're going to take a jet to these werewolves. So believe me, guys, we definitely need this.
I mean, to be fair, a military jet can be easily down with a 2-point gift.
And 3, who's going to win a fight between a Geth and an F-15?
I don't know. Does he have turn off all machinery?
He's not a glass worker. No, a glass worker would win that fight immediately. But no, he's got a Yarl hammer.
I mean, you just have to be human to get that gift.
You got a good arm. You think you can smack that one down?
I mean, doesn't matter how powerful your jet is if it can't fly.
All right, let's get into the actual history. Okay. You guys both know this, but the audience does not. Let's go into this. So, the Special Affairs Division, the SAD, it is a secret branch of the FBI, and it was started by one Charles Homer, but it did not become an official thing until 1952. The idea for it was planted in the 1930s. It started after one Charles Homer, on what was going to be a pretty routine job, finds himself getting attacked by werewolves one day. Oh, sorry, not werewolves. I'm sorry. He gets attacked by vampires one day. He gets jumped, and he survives. He does not get the little bit of delirium you get from a vampire attacking you from the kiss. And he says, hey, that was supposed to happen. I think that was a vampire. But he doesn't have any actual proof. He won't get that proof until 1943, when he's in New York City chasing down a vampire. We'll talk about that vampire later. As it turns out, that vampire is a Nazi. He is a Nazi spy hiding within New York City. Go watch our Berlin by Night video if you want more information about what that looked like. Who survived multiple gunshots to the chest and jumped out of a window and escaped. And it was then that Homer realized that, yes, vampires are real. Now I need to convince somebody that vampires are real. But nobody would believe him until 1952, with one Dr. Zotos, who was the psychiatrist of J. Edgar Hoover. And Homer said, hey, doctor, can you tell Hoover that I said that vampires are real and that you believe me and you believe they're real. And Dr. Zoto said yes. They went over to J. Edgar Hoover, had a big conversation with him, convinced him that vampires were real, and J. Edgar Hoover said, "You're right. I believe that we need a branch of the government that's going to handle vampires." And so they did. Now, why didn't J. Edgar Hoover tell anybody about this? Well, the same reason why J. Edgar Hoover didn't tell anybody that he was cross-dressing. All right, 1955. The SAD it's a thing. It's been a thing for 3 years. They find the head of a Bruja that's been cut off, and they keep it in a big Ark of the Covenant style wooden crate where it's evidence, but nobody really believes them. They're saying, oh, maybe it's just some freakazoid that got his teeth filed, and he's got it's like rare genetic disorder that gives him long teeth. And they look at this, they're thinking this is bullshit. They start like growing very slowly because if you work for the government, should you just be told that vampires exist the minute you take this job? What do you guys think? Is that something?
I'll believe it.
Yeah, just leave it. 3 of you took a job with the FBI. Do you think you should automatically know that vampires are real?
No.
Nope.
I probably wouldn't say it.
That's because it's a very difficult secret to keep. Do you know just how many whistleblowers who keep getting out of the White House? How many people feel the need to just leak classified documents? Where, Trump released Operation Northwoods at the start of the year, and everybody was saying, oh no, they were planning on killing a whole bunch of Americans in Nicaragua back in the 50s? Are you kidding me? That was real? And it's like, yeah, we knew this was real. This has been leaked for years and years. We've known about this. Why are you acting like this is news? We've known about this leak for years by this point. So
I want to say one thing. I've heard this comment before, but it fits it exactly. It's always a conspiracy theory until someone proves it.
That's exactly it. Yeah, it's that you can't prove me wrong until I prove myself right. And with this job, you can't just let anybody who works for the FBI in on this secret. You've got extremely tight security measures. You have to make sure these people will not say shit to anyone. So only 25 people are in SAD during this time. And it becomes 1969, and SAD realizes that, hey, we found out there's this voodoo cult operating with this hippie cult in Louisiana. Here's our big opportunity to expose both of them and prove that the hippies that we've been trying to disprove for years and years with the CIA are this evil movement that's trying to destroy American values and implant communism, and the vampires are communists too, and we're going to bust them all, and then every agent that goes into Louisiana dies. I don't know who dropped the ball with that one, but everybody's dead.
Wow, it's like the supernaturals don't like people touching them.
It's almost like you were dealing with the Samedi is what you were doing. Those guys don't play. Not even the Giovanni
really
can take care of these guys.
Yeah, I remember correctly. At the point at their base, the main fortitude of the Samedis, they have a literal army of undead soldiers.
And these guys have this giant zombie army in Jamaica that they're ready to send across the ocean to attack you.
You were not getting through that army without an actual army.
There's a real reason why you don't want to go to Kingston.
Yeah.
And this is, it feels bad, man. Well, mission fail will get him next time. 1973. Homer realizes that Geru are real and tries to bust the American Indian movement and the Maenads that he believes are these Geru co-opted covers that are hiding werewolves, and the werewolves are trying to destroy American values again. And then he sends more people to handle both of them. All those agents die. And then a year later, Homer is brutally murdered.
Well,
great.
That's how typically vampire hunter organizations happen. They send someone, they probably die. They find out who did it, then you die.
It's like, messy with the antenna is one thing, but you wanted to throw a hand to the Black Furies, and you thought you could get away with that?
No, not just the Black Furies. The fucking Wendigos, too.
Yeah, the Wendigo, the antenna... the antenna could just cast a right to flood your house in a single day. You think you can take these guys on? Oh, no joke.
Yep. Now then, want to tell you how they got restructured after this massive stop poking the bear?
Yeah, when Andrew Crow took over in 1980. Well, no, he took over in 1973. He ran SAD until 1980, and then he resigned because he said, "This is a big crock of shit. I don't think any of this is real. We have no evidence that vampires are real after 7 years of me trying." Let's pass it off to one George Thomason. He'll definitely be the right man for the job, right? Where George Thomason was a survivor of a vampire serial killer. I immediately think that this is a Nosferatu Leatherface. You guys remember who those are, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Nosferatu decide, hey, I'm ugly, I feel like murdering people in brutal ways. And George runs the SAD until 1993, when he is suddenly institutionalized against his will. He is now in a funny farm, where he will stay until the day he dies. Gerald Osborne has taken over SAD. This book takes place in 1995, so that's where the history of Project Twilight kind of ends. We don't really have anything beyond that. Unless you want to consider V20 and V5 to be canonical events, in which the Second Inquisition is a thing, and the Camarilla gets exposed, and everybody in the government seems to know about them, and V5 is just a big crock of shit, and I hate that story. I hate it so much.
Look, I'll make my opinion after V5 after we read the book, and you understand why V5 makes no damn sense.
I've read V5, and it still makes no sense. It's just a really stupid edition of Vampire, and it killed the IP.
It really did harm the IP more than it did help.
Yeah, we're a channel talking about a dead game by this point, but we're still going to keep doing it.
Yeah, our fan base is still loyal.
There it is.
Now, what page are we at? 24? 29?
Yeah, Gerald Osborne still. Who is giving money to SAD? Well, by this point, SAD is only 5 people, and that's it. Now,
yeah, it's like the numbers got massacred.
Yeah, I don't think it's 5 including the player characters. I think it's just 5 named characters, and that's it. And who's keeping this going? One Jesse Grubble, a senator. If I'm remembering this right, I think he's Louisiana in this book, but I might be wrong about that. I don't think it matters too much what state he's from. But he goes over to Gerald and says, hey, that Geru angle you guys were researching back in the 70s, I have evidence that Geru are real. Gerald says, really? And Jesse says, yes. During a party for my debutante granddaughter, Tandy, she was attacked by these silver werewolves. They got captured, and she got captured by them. Everybody else went into delirium except for me. And I remember this one silver werewolf giving me the stink eye as he ran away with my granddaughter. And Gerald, who's a fucking nutcase, says, oh, that sounds good enough to me. And then around the same time, they find a burnt, dead Metis body in Alaska after they attacked Indron. And I'm pretty sure just Pentex handed the body over to them and said, hey, I heard you were looking for evidence that werewolves are real. Here you go. And it said, oh, well, thank you. Are we going to tell anybody about this? No, we're just going to keep doing what we were doing before. And that's technically where the book kind of sort of ends with the history.
So if I understand this correct, some silver... Now, when you say silvered fur, that doesn't have to be the silver fangs.
I say it's silver fangs. It's their nature to drop the ball on just about everything they do.
Look.
Yeah, well...
Not all werewolves that have silver fur are part of the silver fangs. That's a lie.
I'm hearing 3 right now. He's agreeing with me.
Wow.
He knows just how stupid the silver fangs are. This is in their nature to fuck up something this badly. Alright. And where does SAD exist now? Well, they're broken up into factions. The people that are joining, apparently, after 1995, we get a few new people, I guess, where you get groups like the Minutemen, who are these quasi-racist ultra-nationalists that believe that all supernaturals need to be purged, and that white is beautiful, and the white man needs to take over the world, and all this other racist shit you get involved, where it was very easy and very topical at the time to refer to the conservatives and the Republican Party as just a bunch of racists, where they kind of were, and now parties have flipped, and there's still racial inequality, but it's not as pronounced. Not in the face of the Democratic Party nowadays. You begin to realize that both these guys are the damn devil. Nobody's got your side. And the other group we have is the Underground, who, very similar to the Progenitors, want to study the supernaturals before killing them. We want to know everything about them Everything we can. Is being a werewolf contagious? Do you become a werewolf after they bite you or claw you? How does this work? How does the metis work? How does the form changing work? How does this totem thing work? They want to learn about this before genociding the werewolves. And then you have the Wireheads, which are 2 agents, unnamed, that have been kidnapped by Iteration X and the NWO, where they've had their brains drilled into, filled with wires and plugs, and they're sleeper agents for the Technocracy. You've been compromised, baby. And yeah, these are heroes here.
Wow, it's like the supernatural creatures of the world ain't blind. You can actually understand when the government's trying to do things.
There it is. We got Ryan tweeting about the Superbowl right now. Oh, the Chiefs are fucking phoning it in.
This is one of the reasons why I hate this idea that none of the vampires saw this coming. Really,
it's
a really
stupid idea when you come to think of it.
Yeah, you basically said all vampires had no one in higher intelligence that saw none of this happening.
Like the Ventrue and the Sombra are both in Washington D.C. ghouling senators. You think that the vampires would just let this shit slip through their fingers?
Yeah, and I'm being it states this in the book. Sorry for spoiling ahead. It states this very clearly. Members of Project Twilight, 2 of them are ghouls, just straight up ghouls.
Yes, and same thing with the Tremere. Like other ways that the vampires can handle this, where the Tremere can just fly around. I'm thinking, no, the Asmites can fly around and give you a heart attack just by looking at you and just by touching you. The Tremere can just kill you remotely the minute they know your name, your face, and have one article of your clothing. And then Zamichi, who's watching the world of darkness through the eyes of his children, can look at you and then flip your internal biological switch and kill you from a distance.
Pretty much. That's pretty accurate. And I just realized this here. One of the hunter organizations making no sense why they would help Project Second Dawn.
Project Second Dawn. It's just you begin to realize just the snarls and continuity here.
I'm sorry here, but it's very obvious here they did that so they can make a narrative statement saying like, oh wow, no one's safe because every vampire in charge is suffering from mental degradation to the highest level.
Where you have the Hunger of Ages with the vampires, you have the Surfangs losing their damn minds.
Don't bring them to things. They disrespected all the Get Fenris so harshly.
The Get Fenris. Well, the Get Fenris did a Sigma move. They said, we're really not supposed to be the leaders here. We want someone else to take the plate. And the Shell Lord said, can do, boss.
Not you.
They're craving the power. They're so hungry for it.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why the Silver Fangs are still in charge, is that the Get Fenris back them up 90% of the time.
Yeah, the Get Fenris, the Fianna, and the Red Talons have the Silver Fangs back. Everyone else, Shadow Lords, ride or die.
Yeah, I mean, despite, even in Martyr Knights, when almost every other werewolf faction is done with their shit, the Get Fenris still back up the Silver Fangs.
Because they've worked with the Shadow Lords for too long. They know these guys too well.
Yep, sorry, continue. This was getting off track.
Well, no, it's this werewolf channel. We're still talking about Werewolf the Apocalypse, but that's it with the with the history. Now, how do you become a member of the SAD? Well, we've all seen Men in Black here, haven't we?
Mm-hmm.
3 have seen Men in Black before.
No, but I've heard of it before.
So what you go through is you go through this massive security clearance. They have to probe and scan every part of you. They get rid of your fingertips. You go through multiple secrecy tests. They make sure that you can actually handle a crisis situation involving supernatural, that you're not going to go into delirium or freak out or anything like that. You're sworn to secrecy. You're told if you tell anybody about this, you are done. You have no life if you break the masquerade and tell anybody about this, about what we're doing. Only the most trusted federal agents are allowed into SAD, where, given how small the number has always been, these guys peaked at 25. That is very, very few people.
Yep, and they still got infiltrated.
The Arcanum has more members than SAD does.
Yeah, the Arcanum is how to put it? The Arcanum had an early start.
Yeah, the Arcanum is on another level compared to everyone else. Now,
hell no, thinking about this pisses me off even more. Hell, the Society of St. Leopold has still the Sombra in it.
There it is. The Catholic Church is ahead of the government, as it should be.
And no one saw that coming.
There it is. You can't beat the church. It's always going to stand around here. Jesus Christ is always in style.
All right, but sorry. Right.
So what do these guys know about the supernaturals individually? I will read this verbatim.
I'll take mages then.
I'm looking at page 32. Let's read it. Right, vampires. Special Affairs was created specifically to investigate the kindred. It is a little surprised then that they have learned much about the undead. The meager physical samples available have revealed some kindred physiology and physical weaknesses. Studies suggest that kindred blood platelets are similar in structure to those of earthworm blood. Interesting to know, I guess. Thus, the department has, by and large, been able to separate fact from fiction and determine what methods of attack would be effective against a kindred. The department knows about the Camarilla and most of its clans. It knows about the Ventrue, Tremere, Bruja, and Nosferatu for some time. It has recently become aware of the existence of Gangrel. It now believes that it has uncovered all the known sects of kindred population. It's kind of ironic to me that they don't know about the Toreador, even though that's said to be the most numerous vampire clan.
I mean, to be fair, like 3 of those clans you can confuse for one.
SAD views the Nosferatu as, without a doubt, the most dangerous and vicious of the clans. Thank you so much, Bill Bridges, you get it. Thank you so much. People will say, no, it's the Ventrue carrying the Camarilla. It's the Tremere carrying the Camarilla. No, it's the Nosferatu and Malkavians. Without a doubt. SAD has an ideological dislike for the Bruja. Thank you so much for saying that. They also know of the Sabbat, which appears to be the Camarilla's opposite numbers, mirroring the Camarilla's 5 clans in the form of anti-clans, like the anti-Ventrue. The agency has determined that the Sabbat is even more dangerous than the Camarilla, and has stepped up its investigation into Sabbat activity, especially in the New York area. Of even greater interest of the Sabbat is they recently discovered that there are vampires involved in organized crime. Wow, shocker. This as of yet unnamed clan is obviously from overseas. It seems to work outside of both the Camarilla and the Sabbat. We can piece together this is Giovanni.
Yes, exactly.
It's Giovanni. It's Giovanni. All right, so. Oh yeah, you're saying?
I'm saying it's obvious, but do you want me to read the werewolf part?
Yeah, go ahead. Do it. Take a shot.
All right. Are you finished?
Yeah, that's all my thoughts on vampire. Take it away.
Okay.
See what you got.
Very known of the Garu, the department has misconstrued almost every piece of data it has found so far. While this is partly due to the agency's myopic analytical procedures and the fact that the discovery is so recent, it is also largely a result of deliberate sabotage. SAD knows of the 3 Garu tribes, the Wendigo, the Kutena, and the Black Spiral Dancers.
That's it.
The department has theorized that the Wendigo are all from Native American tribes in the northern United States and Canada, i.e., you know how to...
Sioux,
Mohawks, Chippewa,
yes,
Blackfeet, and various Inuit tribes.
yes.
While the Kutena are representative of the southern tribes, i.e., Navajo, Seminole, and Apache. No one in the department has yet observed any black spirals, but they have heard of rumors of them. The department is currently working under the hypothesis that lycanthropy may be a genetic trait specific only to those of Native American heritage, of course. Although this is a theory is slowly on its way out. The misconception was furthered by Martin Fisk, who's trying to create bad relations between the government and the Garu. He feels that the department will be more likely to use force against that the department will use force against Native Americans than any other Americans. Fisk has tried to put as negative a spin on any encounters with the Garu as possible without making it obvious that he has an agenda.
A pretty racist one at that.
Oh yeah. Worm tainted as well.
Yeah. He's evil.
You got more.
Yeah. See,
yeah.
It's the Do you want me to take over, or do you want to keep going?
Let's finish this one, and you can take can take mages.
All right.
All right. All agents working on cases that may potentially involve may potentially involve a werewolf. That department doesn't know the word garu and instead uses the word nomenclature lycanthropes are usually armed with silver bullets. The agency doesn't know for sure that silver will be effective, but since kindred are damaged by traditionally prescribed remedies, sun, wooden stakes, they're hoping that the same is true for werewolves.
It is. It is. Sadly, they know about that. They got that right at the very least.
Yeah, that's good.
So, keep your wits about you, because apparently there's at least one agent that has a clip of silver. Though you still gotta provide a pretty good explanation as to why you have that.
Well, this is normal water darkness, not your ruling where they do max damage.
Yes.
So it's not gonna stop the werewolf.
And let's see here. I love the max damage rule. I love it when combat is super deadly.
That is way too deadly.
I found my solution for D&D. It's all my damage value is going to be maximum for the next game I run.
I'm going to say this, Johnny. It's a good combat rule, but just as so easily, if you make an enemy just a little too strong, you can end up just one-shotting one of your player characters.
Yeah, that's what happened in Rich Girls Russia.
Well, those were planned.
Let's see what we got.
They don't count.
Let's see. Give me the mages.
Sad knows less about mages than it does of Guru. It has heard of the cult of ecstasy. The frankly immoral reputation of this organization has instigated some investigations of its own doings. On several occasions, the department has come close to divining the cult's true nature, but has always in the end been frustrated by the last-minute changes of fortune. Mages from the Order of Hermes and of Verbatim have on occasion lent aid to various crime-solving organizations. In the guise of psychic consults, they have, however, been very careful not to divulge their true natures. Of all the traditional mages, the virtual adepts had the most contact with Sad, which is one of the reasons why the department has learned so little about mages.
There it is. The virtual adepts are dunking on these guys, by the way.
Wow, it's like the supernatural world is actually aware when people look into them. It's not like they're all blind.
Yeah,
Wow.
let me pull this up. Let me make sure OBS can see this. Yeah. Let me zoom in on this. This is later in the book. Let's see, pull this up. The virtual adepts in SAD. In light of their ability to use computers, the adepts have had little trouble breaking into the department's computer systems to remove or rearrange information. Several enterprising adepts have even gone so far as to install a trip switch, which calls out a SAD investigation team whenever the adepts are cornered by the Tenacracy, who will usually abort a mission when there are sleeper witnesses around. The department has begun to grow suspicious of these prank phone calls, and although SAD has not been able to root out the computer mole, procedural safeguards have been put in place to lessen the impact of the intrusions. You're getting clowned on by the VAs!
I mean, to be fair, the virtual adepts, because of... Let me put it like this one here. And this is why mage will never be included into this world of darkness. Because let me see here. Humans with all this technology to detect, find, and find all these vampires. Really? You rely on all this technology to find vampires? Yes. Okay, mage? Hack all the computers? What?
There's a reason why Eden glazes the glassworkers so much in our server, and we've yet to really go into virtual adepts. This is... when we eventually get to virtual adepts, that's the episode I'm going to be super excited for, because... While I do say the Order of Hermes is objectively in the right between the 9 traditions, they're still wrong. They're still very wrong, but they're the most in the right. The virtual adepts are right behind them, and I love their technology so much. I love their spellcasting.
Yeah, it's like I'd state this as a fact here. It's like you can't rely on one solution to get your way through every single problem, because if you do, you run across one enemy that's better than you than it is, and you're really fucked.
Get Neo from the Matrix. Take a look at Superbowl score again. Oh yeah, it's halftime right now. I ain't watched that show.
All right, great. All right, hold on. Let's end this off with the Wraiths.
Wraiths. Do you want to read this, or do you want me to read it?
I'll read it because it's so short.
All right, take a look at it.
Surprisingly, SPAD does have evidence of the existence of raves. The agency has been developing various instruments that will help to detect their presence. Research director Alan
Kinchlov.
Kitchlov is particularly avid of devotee of the subject, and pursues this hobby enthusiastically. He himself has photographed ghosts, and he has other agents have investigated several haunts.
But you don't know about the Legions, you don't know about Karen, you don't know about the Spectres, you don't know about the Neverborn, you don't even know about Grandma, and who's the other villain for Morpheus? But
I don't know.
Yeah, but yeah, that's what you got. You don't even know about Orpheus, Next World, and Tyrell and Squib. You're so in the dark about rates. And then what they know about fairies? Jack shit.
Look here, I'm a Changeling fan. There's a reason why we're barely in any books, because we're sort of got left to the side.
Because nobody thinks you exist.
We really did, and because of that, we get the less strike from everyone.
Right. There's also a fun little thing to read in this book. This is your adventure hooks and your plot hooks, in case you weren't interested in the story it had. The 10 most wanted of SAD.
Actually, yeah, 10 most wanted, yeah.
All right, let's go into this. Number 10, unknown. Name unknown. A video of this lycanthrope was taken by a department store security camera during a recent disturbance in Chicago's financial district. It is of dubious authenticity if, as Kinchlov insists, the tape is genuine. The evidence implies a hostility between a vampire and lycanthropy camps. This is a theory which we should investigate further. The lycanthrope pictured here clearly fits the A-type physiological model that we have constructed, so until the validity of the tape can be asserted for certain, the entity should be regarded as a viable target for investigation. I think... What do you mean you gotta investigate further into this? You got a werewolf on camera. Somebody breached the veil.
Because this is what I love about War of Darkness. It's not as simple as people like to do, because people like to do this a lot. They like to hand wave a lot of things just so the player characters can get everything down, but no. This is the reason why player characters, anyone who sees this, why your character's actually superior, because the DM hand raised all this so you guys can get through the easily. Everybody else has to go through the hard work.
This was AI generated all the way back in 1995.
That was not AI generated. I can see the werewolf fight you.
No, nowadays it'll be fucking impossible to do it because you got so much AI stuff going on in Photoshop and everything.
I mean, I'll be real with you. I've seen werewolf books and it reeks of AI. They try to be cheap for no good reason. You are a multi-million-dollar company. You don't get the right to try to use AI.
Oh, dog. W5 and how fake the artwork was, where they just traced and generated and just mid-journeyed everything in that book.
Yeah. I'll want to do one myself, actually.
Do you want to do number 9?
No, I want to do number 2.
Let me. 3. Do you want to read number 9?
I mean, do you want to go through the whole entire wanted list?
Yeah, I want to go through the whole list.
Okay, sure. I'll do number 9.
So 3, you want to do number 8 next?
I'll do number 8. You do number 7, 6. I do number 5 like that.
All right. Let's see. King, if you'll read number 9, Charlotte Holmes.
Holmes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I had to be pedantic. I don't know what to make of this self-styled female Sherlock Holmes. She is clearly a supernatural entity of some sort. She has been an incalculable help to numerous law enforcement agencies across America and Western Europe. Over the last 60 or more years, she seems to have been laboring under the delusion that she is either related to or actually is the fictional detective, Sherlock Holmes, and adopted his mannerisms, his pipe, because magnifying glass, great coat, etc. This distortion of reality, however, has evidently not affected her
superlative
detective skills or her appropriate good intentions towards the law and its forcers. Over the years, she has been credited with saving several police and citizens' lives. Eyewitnesses have reported her appearance has been given her a name of either Sherlock or Charlotte, as suggests her inclusion on the list for questioning purposes only.
So you got, you think it's Mulcavian?
No, that is a mage going in quiet.
Yes.
Actually,
this is a mage in quiet.
It is. It leaves mystery with who these guys are because like you, the storyteller, can come up with who you want these people to be.
Of
They're-
course, but meta knowledge is meta knowledge.
yeah. Let's see.
Mm-hmm.
Number 8. What was that? Uh, uh, Number 8. Michael Standing Tall.
All
You may take it away, 3.
right. Number 8. Wanted Michael Standing Tall. Oh, Mr. Standing Tall.
Hmm?
Standing Tall is a fugitive wanted by several agencies, including SAD, for his involvement in the deaths of 2 federal agents in South Dakota in 1973. He is considered to be very dangerous by all agencies involved. I am almost certain that Standing Tall is a Type A lycanthrope of the Wendigo tribe. There have been various reported sightings of him since he went underground, but nothing confirmed. Presumably, he has numerous allies both in the American Indian movement and in various others of these militant left-wing political groups, which we've seen so much of lately. Use of deadly force is fully appropriate in dealing with this cop killer.
Left-wing political groups I've seen so much of. Well, buddy, you haven't seen anything yet.
So what I understand from this one here is a vampire
No,
or a werewolf.
no, it's a werewolf. It's werewolf.
Let me finish here. Or a werewolf that has very intense political standpoints and refuses to back down on them.
Perhaps this is the guy who killed Homer. Perhaps it's him.
I don't know.
And if it is him, if this guy's still alive, like he's in his like 60s or 70s by this point. But
he's a werewolf. You can fight in your 60s.
It is. You got what was it? They get from this guy like bites the heart of the worm who's in his 90s by this point and he's still alive.
Yeah, no, you made a werewolf that's in their 90s. That is rare.
There it is. He's got a pee in a tube now, but he can still kick somebody's ass. All right.
Yeah.
Let's see. Number 7, The Hook. You remember hearing stories of The Hook? When I was a boy in summer camp, I heard the stories, and that was in the early 1960s. There are unconfirmed reports of him from as far back as 1916, though the latest report appearance occurred just 2 months ago. The Hook's modus operandi seems to be a conglomeration of every camp horror story ever told and all the bad slasher films ever made. In light of our department's recent tragic encounter with him, we can no longer write him off as a series of multi-generational copycat killers. I am not, however, prepared to endorse Kinchlov's theory that he is a physical expression of our collective racial unconsciousness. His ability to shed bullets like water clearly marks him as a paranormal entity of sorts. He does not fit either of our vampire or lycanthrope templates. However, I agree with Forrest's assessment that he is something new. I would strongly urge the use of extreme caution in the event of an encounter with him. What do you think, guys?
Can you guess what he is?
Or perhaps this is a wraith that can use embody. What do you think?
Well, there's 3 things, actually, what the guy could be.
Give it the theory.
1, he could be arisen.
He could be.
A nightmare.
Yeah, it would work. That would... yeah, third one?
Or gorehound.
Gorehound. Yeah, I'm of the opinion that this is one of those, like, former arcs, like, to kind of live for fucking ever. Like,
Yeah, not every gorehound comes out the exact same.
Yeah.
Some gorehounds might just live longer.
Yeah, there's a lot of variation whenever it comes to changing Werewolf the Apocalypse is for Mori. Not every one of them dies young.
No, not really. Sometimes, if they're smart enough or clever enough, and it's even mentioned in the book, there are more modern gorehounds are just really smart.
We got number 6 on the list. One Lulu Hagen.
I'll take Lulu.
Do it.
I'm completely lost at sea when attempting to decipher the motives behind this madwoman's bizarre and electric behavior. We first became aware of her in 1971 when she sent a vial vampire blood directly to the Charles coroner's office. Other samples followed, often accompanied by taunting letters, photographs of a woman, presumably her, in various vampiric poses, and newspaper clips involving alleged vampire attacks, which have occurred more or less randomly. Throughout the United States, the letters have all been claimed that the writer was a vampire and that she will strike again. Every bit of correspondence which has vanished and invariable contained clues, usually in the form of a child's like rhyme or simple riddles, detailing when and where she plans to make her move. I would like to write her off as a hoax, but have been unable to do so because of the wealth of credible evidence she has supplied us with, as well as her
Obvious knowledge
um obvious knowledge.
of the department's
In
inner
her
workings.
of our department's inner workings. So far, no one has died in her blatant attacks, but many have been left with two puncture marks on their necks. She tends to affect the dress and the meter of 1920s flappers or gun mall.
So what do we think, Sabat? This,
Prop. This is a Malkavian. This is definitely a Malkavian.
yeah, I'm getting like Malkavian anti-tribute vibes off of this. Yep. 3, you got an idea?
Could be Sabat, could be like a Toreador as well. Like,
Get him the fashion.
yeah,
But, yeah,
not fashionable in the normal sense.
she is flirting with the Masquerade doing this. This is
I mean, she hasn't got caught yet.
this feels like such a bad idea, but she keeps doing it anyway.
Well, the rule is if it doesn't draw the world's attention, you can do it repeatedly.
Let's see here. And as for who we got next, this will be one Denise Gerard.
I can take this one, by the
Do it.
way. Number 5, wanted Denise Gerard. Denise Gerard is wanted in connection with the biggest mass murder of SAD agents in our department's history, or indeed of the FBI as a whole. Despite a huge expenditure of time and effort, we have yet to uncover any trace of her since she disappeared in 1969. Although we originally assumed she was a vampire, but it now seems she may in fact be a werewolf. Her Haitian roots suggest that she is one of these black spiral dancers we've heard about. I strongly suggest that maximum force be employed if she is encountered.
BSD Werewolf. Do we believe in this?
Maybe.
I think so.
This
Probability.
has got me excited for like I'm probably never going to do it in one of my games, but the idea of like a 100-year-old voodoo black spiral dancer witch would be a very fun antagonist.
It would. They would be smart and clever. I mean, smart and just hit hard.
She's taking you out this way the Kuei Jin do. She's sucking up your soul energy, and she's using that to keep herself young and alive.
I got some she can suck.
She's got friends on the other side. You pervert!
What?
Well, this just got sexy, alright? Let's go off to the next one. Alright.
What? You said suck.
Alright. Number 4. Dr. Timothy Archer Clark. I consider Clark to be even more dangerous than Gerard. He is a left-wing gadfly with probable former relationships with the Kremlin Bruja. A 60s holdover, Clark still espouses the dead ideas of the counterculture of his time. He has proven connections with the drug culture and the liberal intelligentsia. What the fuck is this? We'll call it liberal bullshit instead. For years, he has been trying to destroy the moral fiber of this country by means of his freedom cult. He recently resurfaced in Seattle. Oh. Several agents were dispatched immediately, although Clark escaped. I feel that the trail is still hot. He would like to see... I'd like to see the Clark case reclassified to a priority status. Please advise me on what manpower you can provide to bring out this dangerous cult leader to justice. Clearly a Bruja, right?
Yeah.
Very clear-cut Bruja.
In his picture, it looks like a changeling, actually.
Yeah. He's got this...
Hold on, let me pull him up.
He's got this peculiar look to him. Where type like going in, checking this guy out.
Hey, there.
Yeah, you got a few pictures of these guys also in Project Twilight. But
Oh wait, hold on. That's the name with the hook. Oh, that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Where Dr. Clark, he's got his hair all the way blown back in the wind, like he was standing underneath a hair dryer. No, not even a hair dryer, like a hand dryer that you would get in a bathroom. See,
Yeah. He looks changeling-esque.
He looks deranged.
Hold on.
Telephone.
Wait, hold on. I just figured out. Figured out about that vampire. That's a thin blood.
It's a thin blood.
Yeah, it's a thin blood.
Oh my god. See, there's some weird stuff going on with this microphone. Alright, take a look at this.
Anyway, I'll take the next one.
Alright, Dr. No, he's not Dr. Wolf Steiger.
Oh no, German.
See, he is a Nazi. Let's take a look into this.
Whoa, but you would have bet?
See, you want to bet that this guy's a white supremacist?
Yeah, I want to bet he's a Nazi.
Let's take a look into him.
Okay. Wolf Steiger has been wanted by the department since World War II, but we have deemed low priority because he has not been seen since all that changed several months ago when he was allegedly caught on tape in Chicago. Please refer to 10.
Yeah,
Steiger's appearance in the video is the main reason why our research department feels the video must be genuine. We have dispatched several agents to Chicago, but so far they have come up with nothing. We should consider him to be very dangerous in the light of the nature of Horner's recent encounter with him. His capture or elimination should be made a high priority.
There he is. He lives. He's trying to find Heinrich Himmler. Well, guess what, you idiot? He went back to Berlin without you.
Dun, dun, dun,
you got left behind, bitch. And looking through all this. Yeah, Denise Gerard.
All right, he wants number 2.
Wolf Steiger. You don't even have a full picture of him. He's torn out of his own picture. You see his hand reaching out, and that's it. I'm going to guess he's Amici.
Yeah, that's a pretty good guess, actually.
Yeah, we're given like the sexy Nazi dominatrix that was in what was it, the Zimichi first edition book? I'm assuming it's going to be a Zimichi.
Yeah,
right.
Never.
Let's see. Look at this. 3. If you would like to do number 2.
Didn't King want to do number 2?
Do you want to do number 2?
Sure, I'll take number 2.
All right, do number 2. 3. I'll leave number 1 to you.
You don't want
what?
Before you wanted to do it.
Number 2.
He's got number 2. Let's do it.
Okay, wanted. Unknown force behind the Evanstown massacre. The entire department is aware of the slaughter in Evanstown. I would like to take this opportunity to once again advise my colleagues, my condolences to you for the losses of your son in the investigation of this case. Rest assured that the preparations will be brought to justice. The perpetrators. At this time detail are still sketchy. We know only that on June 13th, the rural town of Evanston,
Connecticut,
Kentucky, population 543. Damn, only 500?
That's a village.
That is basically a village. Suddenly became a battle zone. Neighbors turned against neighbors, killing one another indiscriminately. All survivors of the violent outbreak died of some hideous disease within 3 days of the melee. Roads and out of the town were blocked, telephone lines cut, and every car in the town destroyed, evidently by the town's inhabitants. The only known survivor of this incident reports seeing men in radical spacesuits, the kind used in biosafety containment areas. A CDC decon team that examined the area has confirmed that the existence of a highly versatile
hitherto unknown pathogen.
This virus seems to be the airborne variant of the Ebola Zaire virus. Zaire virus. I agree with Foster's recommendations that we initiate phase 1 of a Restone protocols. I suggest continued guarded cooperation with Drs. Fletcher and the CDC, on this case. We do not have the biohazard facilities to deal with this virus ourselves.
Pentex?
No.
Not Pentex.
It's to me. This sounds like Pentex. This sounds like something Pentex would do.
Damn. What's another person that would deal with unknown diseases that popped out of nowhere?
Bali?
No, not them.
Progenitors.
Technocracy?
Close.
Space
There it is. I'm trying to think.
engineers, progenitors.
Space engineers.
The void engineers. It's
Void engineers, yes.
They found an alien disease from another dimension,
Yeah, pretty much.
and it came out and killed everybody.
Get it into a village.
It is. It reads like a creepypasta when you look at this.
Yeah.
Look at his face. He looks so chiseled.
He's got that Sigma male chin in that picture.
It's like a manic.
Oh.
There it is. 3, if you would take it away, number 1.
Yeah, I can take it.
Give us a read.
Number wanted, name unknown. We have nothing to go on in this case but a crude police artist sketch dictated by Charles Horner shortly after he was attacked in a Chicago warehouse over 60 years ago. Although it was reportedly a swift and violent confrontation in a dark place, I have little doubt that the picture is accurate. Warner is known to have possessed a photographic memory. We have not uncovered any clues to this vampire's whereabouts in all this time, but I feel he should remain number 1 on the list as a debt of honor to our founder. I also believe that he can serve as symbolic focus for the department.
Who's willing to bet this guy's already faced final death? He's been dead for years by this point.
I don't know.
You've been chasing a phantom this entire time.
I won't be here. If that's what he looks like, that guy's actually a vampire in Chicago. I'm not joking here. He has stats. That is a vampire in Chicago.
You recognize the stat block?
I remember seeing it once. But that is a brew hall.
Well, we do Chicago by Night in 2 weeks, so we might discover that guy.
Never.
It is. And as for SAD HQ, let's go ahead and get into that. So you go along with the book in chronological order. So on the screen right now, this is what HQ looks like. This is the top floor of the J. Edgar Hoover building. It's got offices, a firing range, screening room, an armory, a library, what you come to expect from a G-Man facility. You can piece together for yourself what it looks like based on the picture I got on the screen. And going into this, do we really need to go over the individual members that are like still in SAD? Because I feel like this isn't as interesting of a bit of information. So do you want to go over who's who in the department, or should we just go off to the next segment?
Hold on. I want to mention this unique little factor.
Oh, well, we do need to mention Martin Fisk and Alan Kinchlov.
Yeah, but I will mention this little thing about okay, all right. Let me see.
Think.
In the security section about the base, it says this whole entire facility can be flooded with nerve agent gas, and it says very quickly it doesn't work on vampires.
So why have the gas at all? Is it to kill the agents?
Not everything can be vampire. And I want to say this one thing: I, as a newbie member of the Giovanni, could have this place stocked and found out everything about it.
Absolutely. Just send a wraith into there, or have him look around, find out what's going on. You got a plan to kill him immediately.
Yeah, many people don't actually know how to ward against people from the other side.
This is why in that vampire game we do on Friday, you thought it was such a good idea to sign up with the Giovanni. The thing is, he was right. Let's see, take a look at this. We can go ahead and get off that screen. How's the Super Bowl doing? It's the same as before, no updates. Okay, so we gotta go over 2 characters. Martin Fisk, a loud and abrasive asshole. He's considered by most to be good at his job, but can also be heavy-handed. He is not above his position to go about on political witch hunts to weed out elements within the department that he considers politically suspect. He is an avid outdoorsman and big game hunter, and possibly worm corrupted. And then we've got Alan Kinchlov, who is your research director. He is suffering from Lou Gehrig's disease, which means his brain is slowly running away. No, that's actually the wrong disease. That's Creutzfeldt-Jakob's disease. What does Lou Gehrig's disease do again?
I forget.
Yeah. Well, he has it. He is paraplegic and he's wheelchair bound. His handicap, however, has not prevented him from carrying out his duties in a sterling manner. He is easily the most brilliant member of the department. He is seen as spacey by some of the department members, while others insist that he is attuned to supernatural in strange and mystifying ways. Who's willing to bet that he's this Charles Xavier type who's psychic?
I don't know.
He's our.
Take a guess. I see what he looks like.
He's our Professor X.
I don't know. Take a guess.
I don't know. I don't think his picture's in this book, but
it is.
It is.
There it is. I think I went past it, but
don't worry about it. It'll be funny in the end.
Next up, is there a rival to SAD? Yes, the NSA, the National Security Agency. What do we know about these guys? Nothing. You know nothing about them. You know that they formed in 1952 after Zotos. You know, the same guy that was Hoover's psychiatrist? Yes, it turns out J. Edgar Hoover and Zotos were planning on forming a department, whether or not Homer said anything, and so they did. And now it's a branch of the CIA, the National Security Agency. They know about the Masquerade. They have ties to armed forces, security agency. They have this domestic intelligence bureau where we'll go over more in Hunters Hunted, but it's this massive database like ShrekNet that all this information on the supernatural, and it got compromised, and now the supernaturals know what they know, and it's basically like the CIA. All they do is just go around and fuck stuff up when they don't really need to get involved. But instead of trying to control civilians like the CIA does, they're instead trying to control the supernaturals. They're trying to organize how these crises are going to happen, what vampire is going to appear where, what werewolf is going to attack who, what mage is going to awaken, but they're still getting clowned on by the virtual adepts like SID. So, yeah, you're not supposed to know too much about these guys. These guys are your antagonist faction, your rival faction, pretty much like the Arcanum in your Hunters Hunted games. But yeah, it's what you'd imagine the CIA doing. That's what they're doing. Pretty simple, right?
Yeah.
And they have their own little factions as well. You have the Gordian Knot, which are scientific and analytical minds that, very much like the democracy, want to be this elite priesthood that wants to hoard all of this vampire and werewolf technology for themselves, and then they can be the only ones to use it. The government should be the ones to hold on to everything, essentially. But they have a lot of ties to Pentex. Pentex lets them know about what that device does and how to use it, and they're basically in the pocket of Pentex. Great, right? I love when my government's compromised. Next up, the Neo-Luddites, this teeny tiny faction where they want to put an end to humanity's adoration of science and go back to loving nature and the world around them. I'm pretty sure these are glasswalkers. I'm pretty sure these are glasswalkers, dude. Looking at this, the Gotham Magpies, where this is your night shift within the NSA, where there are these fucking weirdos that hang around at night, and their whole mission is the acquisition and dissemination of information. They just hoard and hoard and hoard information, much like the Arcanum, and just store them all into a library like that database I talked about before, and it all got compromised. You two are familiar with 40K, the Blood Ravens? You familiar with those guys?
Yeah.
Basically Blood Ravens, that's what they're doing.
I want all your treasures. Get out of here, you bloody magpie.
Yeah, that's what they are, exactly. Delphi. Very few people in the NSA beyond command staff have ever heard of these guys. This is the secret society within the secret society within the secret society, where take a while to guess based off what they do based off that name.
They're information gatherers.
Yes.
You said blood. Well, hold on. Well, they're more with the Ravens, not Blood Ravens.
Yeah. What Delphi is doing is that they're collecting all this information and they're trying to predict the next crisis, where the crisis is going to happen. They're trying to be oracles with the data that they have. They succeed sometimes, they fail the other times. They're trying to recreate what the Malkavians are doing, essentially.
Yeah.
The Regulators, which is another shadowy interagency enforcement branch of the NSA, where these are guys who are going around, and they're the Watchers who are watching the Watchers. They're making sure that the NSA is not compromised from within. If it is, kill the agent, dump her body off in a ditch, set it on fire, and then move on. And then there's the Crow's Nest, which is your training ground. They're the ones that are hiring and training the other members of the NSA. How do you become a member of the NSA? The same way that you became a member of the SAD. But let's go a little bit further into this Zotos guy, Dr. Emil Zotos. To those in NSA who have knowledge of the supernatural, Dr. Zotos presents more than a minor mystery. Zotos continues a family tradition into the Para Intelligence Agency, originating with his grandfather at the beginning of the century. No one is really sure just what Zotos' position is. He's still alive, but he has the highest security clearances in the government. He is the upper echelon. It is said by some that Zotos has deep connections with the supernatural itself, but these rumors are sustained. So that leads to the question, who is this guy supposed to be? Just, how much does he really know? Do you know? Because, like, is he compromised? Is he a vampire? Is he a ghoul? Is he a mage? Is he a member of the NWO? All these questions that you'll never have answers to. And then lastly, what about the other branches of the government? How much do they know? The CIA. They're aware of, like, some stuff. They know that the Bruja were in the KGB. They're onto the Gefemis, the Children of Gaia, the Wendigo, the Actena, the Black Furies, and their Dream Speakers. They know something's up with these guys, but they don't know the vampire word, the werewolf word. They don't know that much. They just know something's going on with these guys, but we just don't really know what it is. There's a guy within the CIA, one Bob Schnablin. I'll take unfortunate last names for 500, please. And
this is the guy with the flaw in parent. And points on lore. This is what it looks like.
Yeah, like what you just said, 3. This is the guy whose brain is fucking cooked, and he made Bob Schnabel's Pyramid of Satanic Power, where we're looking at the picture right now, and this guy has no idea what the fuck he's talking about.
I mean, to be fair, to an average person, how the heck would this all make sense to you without insider knowledge?
Like you guys, you know who QAnon is, right? You know that group of guys, where, when you look at this stuff, when you say, "Oh, I want to be like Alex Jones, and I want to go be the next guy to do InfoWars, I want to go in and reveal these government conspiracies," if you just jump into all that stuff at once, you're going to fry your mind doing that. You're going to think that everybody is conspiring something. You're going to become this paranoid wreck where you're going to start saying, "Oh, that adrenochrome harvesting ADP 445s are everywhere, and I can't trust anybody. I need to go into combat ping pong with a loaded shotgun." This is what happens to you when you learn all this information too quickly. you gotta ease yourself into this shit, right? And this is what happens when you take the red pill too quickly. When you swallow the pill too quickly, this is what you look like. This is what you look like.
I'm seeing something called New Age Movement, and it goes to the Black Dog Games.
You see on this list, like, he has, like, some stuff in here. Like, he knows about Black Dog. He knows about the Shadow Lords. He knows, like, there's something up with the technocracy and the Verbena, but he doesn't have any idea how this stuff is supposed to connect.
No one does.
Yeah.
No. Captain Grasswalker, Temple of Set.
Like, it's good that he knows some of this stuff, but you don't have no idea what you're looking at. Where I love that. What? What you saying? What are you trying to tell me? Nothing. All right, there we go. Got some fucker going with the microphone, but it's not too bad. All right, so get off of this page. Superbowl. Did the Kansas City Peeps just get paid to lose? Is that what's going on here?
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting off of that. This is stupid. I'm glad I'm not watching that shit. And what is next to talk about with with the government agencies. We went over to CIA and what little the CIA actually understands about this. So, who's the next government agency down the line? Who do you think? You both are looking at the book. You already know what I'm going to say. All right, so the next agency that we're looking at, it is the DEA. I'll go over them next and then the CDC. Where, once again, these guys are fishy. They know something's up with these cartels. Like, why do these same people keep popping up in our pictures? Why is this group so organized? Is there something going on here? They don't have their finger on it, but they suspect that something's up. Same with the CDC, where, once again, something's up, but they don't know what. They're thinking, like, oh, maybe this thing we keep seeing in SAD reports about, like, this, like, guy that had, like, some sort of, like, bloodborne disease. Is there some sort of pandemic spreading around America that we don't know about? Like, some sort of, like, super HIV? We're going to keep looking into it. But there is one, Dr. Marissa Fletcher, who is onto the Masquerade, but we will talk more about her in Hunter's Hunted. You're going to hold me to that when I get to that episode. The Department of Defense, internationally, that's what they dealt with, where they're trying to keep the Cold War from going hot, and they don't know jack shit. They're not familiar with any of this at all. As for Congress, guess what? You're compromised. The Supreme Court's compromised. The President. Does Donald Trump know about the Masquerade? President Carter and Reagan reportedly both asked the government for information on UFOs, but that's all they know. They're too distracted by the flying saucer to actually know about the Masquerade. More than likely, Donald Trump does not know that vampires exist. Yeah, which I love that idea. Like, I'm trying to remember what episode we did in, but we were talking like Trump like finds out that vampires are real and it gives like a press conference on it.
Imagine.
This is my good friend Jen Peterson, and he's a tremendous guy. We love his business. He's done great work for us. He's been a masquerade. It's been breached, but you know what? I was looking at the vampires in our society, and I decided this looks not so bad. I think vampires are going to do great for our country. Don't we love Jen Peterson, everybody? We just can't him up and do this. Dude, I am, knowing how close the changing game is to DC, I am trying to avoid putting you guys in DC because I know my game is going to go off the rails if I do. Looking into this. And what else is in this book? So it's a bunch of ideas in here before you get into the adventure module about like what agents versus vampires is going to look like, what agents versus werewolves are going to look like. You're eventually up shit creek without a paddle no matter what you do. And I say, well, if you're up against other horrors, notice that changing to dreaming is not in here. Instead, Book of the Worm is, Book of Madness is, where they want you to fight Fomori and Marauders, but not fairies. Because after all, they don't exist, right? And then it goes over and it's talking about like the difference between the Masquerade and the Veil, where both of them are trying to be subtle, where a Masquerade breach is just Ventrue pulling a few strings, getting a few people paid off, getting a few properties foreclosed. They send in a sweeper to clean it up, and then the mess is gone before you notice. If a guru is trying to solve a Veil breach, it is kill them all. You kill all the witnesses. Everybody that saw that Veil breach dies instead. So it gives an impression that if a vampire knows that you saw him in this game, you might survive. If a werewolf sees you and knows that you've seen it, you die. There's no coming back from that. Also, do you want to engage in melee combat with a werewolf? No! Don't do that. These guys are going to frenzy and they're going to kill everyone in your party. And then guess what? Game over, right? Now we're back to playing vampire as usual. Now, what exactly should we talk about the rest of this? The rest of this is more just like miscellaneous information that I don't think is that important to the episode. Looking into this, we went over the virtual adapts. Now the virtual adapts are just clowning on these guys. I can't get over that. And then you have a couple stat blocks in here. You get like a stat block for Gerald Osborne. You have stat blocks for everyone else who's SAD. Shall we go into the module itself for a minute?
Yeah.
So looking into this, it is not as crazy as you think it would be. It's essentially what you would come to expect from a Werewolf the Apocalypse game, where it's you go into this community next to Lake Ontario in Ohio. I think it's Ohio, and you're there to handle the werewolves in that area. And then you find out after you interact with the werewolves where you don't skip dialogue, you actually listen to what the werewolves have to say. It turns out they're in the right here, and that Pentex is around the area, and then you get red pilled, and then you have to go and handle Pentex. It's basically your normal standard fare Werewolf of the Apocalypse game, is what you're looking at with the adventure module. Just to very quickly summarize the plot line for you. It's also got like a week-long calendar system where the whole plot's supposed to take place over 5 days, and there's stuff that's going to happen within the 5 days, 7 days, however many days you want to have this story go on for. And really, that's it. I'm sorry, but I did not find the adventure module to be nearly as interesting as the one that was in Rites of Passage. So it's your standard fair Werewolf game, is what I'm saying. But you do get full artwork for every character in this book, and I do feel like some of these guys can be transcribed into other games where they don't necessarily have to be attached to Project Twilight, because there's a few guys in here that I thought were pretty interesting, like Samuel Norwich, who is a Get Famous Philodox. You can imagine how fun that is, right? And he's a guy who's unsure how he's supposed to lead. He knows that Get Famous are incredible. He's got dad issues where like his dad has got this idea as to what kind of hero he's supposed to be, what he's supposed to grow up to be. And he learned that he was a guru pretty late in his life compared to other guru. He first changed when he was 19 while he was a sergeant in the Marines. And he had his first change over there. His dad found out about it, started telling him like what his expectations were going to be. And he's got all this weight on his shoulders that he needs to be this badass. Where he goes around, he's got a 44 Magnum, he's got a motorcycle, he's got a Bible, he dresses as a cop, and it's a Get Famous with Navy SEAL training, because he's in a Navy SEAL shirt. Like even though it says he was part of the Marines, he's wearing a Navy SEAL's jacket in the book. It's once again, what comes to your mind when you think of Get Famous? This guy is the best of the best for a reason here. And then you've got other members who are like guys within the Sabbat, guys who are Rodin, guys who are Stargazers. We have a Stargazer in this book. I'm sorry, but anytime I see a Stargazer character, you really gotta impress me with the Stargazers. The Stargazers are just not the interesting tribe that they ought to be whenever it comes to canon characters. And that's it really with Project Twilight. All right, well I guess that's it. Right, every episode done. There it is. Yes, short one this time. Let's go. You know what? Now, while I got the two of you here, you want to go over something hypothetical that's on my mind?
Yeah.
So let me ask you something crazy. All right. This has been on my mind. It's like we're doing it's bonus episode time, everybody. It's bonus episode. All right. So, what would you guys think about the Bunyip still being alive? This. All right, the Chiefs finally scored a point. I see the writing on the wall. I know where this game is going to go. Let's get off of this shit. All right. So we remember who the Bunyip are, right?
Yeah, from Australia.
Yeah, the Australian werewolf. Where something that like really chaps my ass about this. I'm typing in Bunyip right now about man-eating monster within Australia. Ooh, what is this picture? It's creepy looking. I will have this up on the screen while we're going over this segment. All right. So is it me, or does it feel like the Bunyip kind of got like shafted in the World of Darkness? Where you agree with me that it feels like the Croton were just there to die, and that was really it. And I have a lot of issues with the Croton subplot in Werewolf of the Apocalypse, where it feels like we had a really interesting tribe here with the Croton, and then the stat block, no, not the stat block, the storyline that was the original appearance of the consumption worm within first edition got really complicated for no reason. The Croton got involved with it, and the Croton died, and I really do hate the plot point. I really do. But with the Bunyip, it feels like we never really got to really find out who these guys were. They really were just there to die, where even the Red Cross Australia said, hey, we had Bunyip before, and now we don't. And that's the end of it. So yay, right?
Yeah, they kind of got sidelined by
sidelined so badly. Where think about this, King, what's your opinion on the Bunyip here? Let's see, because I think Wormfoe has the gifts of the Bunyip. Yes, I do. I was looking at some of their stuff here too, where let's see, pulling this up. Oh, Black Swans is really what this does. Right, yeah, there we go. The hero must successfully splash an opponent with water taken from the environment. Bottled water doesn't work. While water taken from local river in a carried bottle would, and tap water is effective in urban environments. The player spends 2 points of Gnosis and rolls Wits and Occult. Supernatural targets may resist the roll with willpower. If the player scores more successes than a target, the target is transformed into a black-feathered swan. Well.
No.
And how long does this transformation last? Oh, is this just permanent? It's permanent. Yeah,
no.
So this just shuts down a werewolf or anything that you splash this water on. It's 2 points of Gnosis and Wits and Occult, and you just gotta resist with willpower, but willpower is not that strong. So, yeah. So, why exactly do you think the World of Darkness would look like had the Bunyip survived and actually got to be a tribe beyond 1913? Where, like what we gotta keep canon is that the Thylacine technically does go extinct in 1913. But let me ask you, why won't these guys just, couldn't these guys just do what the Stargazers did with the Amangaman and just gone into the Dreamtime and just sat there instead and hid out? That we could still have these guys, but they can only be found in the Umbra. So, you remember how the Children of Gaia have a camp called the World Tree, where there's this defense force that hangs around the Yggdrasil to make sure nothing attacks it? Why can't we get that with the Bunyip, in all honesty? Where, say that they all died in 1913, the War of Tears so happened, but not every Bunyip died. And then say, we'll throw it in a bone here, we'll say an Umbra pilot discovered it. They discovered that the Bunyip are still alive out in the Dreaming and said, "Oh, you're still here, cool." And then as it turns out, the Bunyip said, "Yeah, we're still here. We're trying to make a spot for ourselves within the Umbra. We're fighting stuff in the Umbra. We're keeping the Dreamtime safe. It hasn't fallen to the worm. Nyal Yod is still our totem." And then behold, you get a new playable werewolf for your games that take place in Australia. Or anything really. Like, say there's an Umbra crisis happening in North America, where you have a Forsaken type of game where the plot is going to be in the Umbra. Most of the stuff that happens in the game is in the Umbra. It's about managing spirits going around. And that's your werewolf game. So, yay, right? Let's think about this.
Kind of.
Let's think about this.
Bunyip I think the Bunyip were written to be as a folly or fodder for other characters, I think.
Yeah,
that's why drafted, as you say.
Yeah, it's kind of lazy writing because, well, not lazy writing. It's just bad writing because. Are you familiar with the trope of fridging, like found in a fridge, put their body in a fridge, where a character just exists in your story for them to die, and then their death is part of the character arc of a different character, but it feels like you didn't really need to do that because when you kill off a character, the story just ends. Like whatever you could do with that character, that's it. That's where it stops. It's all that you can do with it, and you couldn't have done anything else with these guys. Where imagine if the Bunyip are still alive and that they held their deaths over the Red Talons' heads, or they really bite up with the antenna. All the plot lines you could do instead of just them being dead. You got a lot of potential here that we'll just never get to see. Which is why I'm almost tempted to make a whole Bunyip tribe book in my spare time. Let's go ahead and just bring these guys back. Who wants to see the Bunyip come back for 3.5? There it is. You only have one. You can either have the Croatan or a Bunyip. I'd rather go with the Bunyip. What was it?
I'm fine with the Bunyip.
Yeah. Also, kind of thing, Sean. I'm trying to remember where he sent this to me. He's been going off about the Thylacine still being live conspiracy, because you get the odd feel of a critter running around that looks like a Thylacine running around, and that they might still be alive. And you got reports of scientists that can revive the Thylacine through science and cloning. So maybe these guys are still around, and they just Smeckledorfed you all, and they're all starting to come out the Umbra, and they're going to slowly retake Australia, and they're going to help purge the land of the worm, because you remember seeing that work in Rage Across Australia. That book is bleak. We like the we look at the dreaming of that one. You got that scabbed up cow. You got the worms come out of the ground, eating the land, drying out the land. Tons of BSDs running around. So, yay, right?
Yeah.
So
Australia good show right now, so they need all the help they can get.
yeah. King agreed. Oh, sorry, Phallic Empress. I see what you changed your name to in the Discord. Perv. What do you think about this? You're being quiet. Wake up, Samurai. We gotta see you to burn. You're on mute, aren't you? He's muted. He's dead. He's on tech issues on his side. There it is. Is it? Oh, or he fell asleep in the middle of the podcast again. But by the way, I guess we'll just like call this like the Bunyip rant at the end of this episode. Because I knew Project Twilight was going to be a short episode, because I had in my mind this episode was going to be short, where it was like on my mind as to whether or not to do an episode on Project Twilight at all. But you know what, we did anyway. We got Project Twilight done, and bam, it's the same reason why I haven't done a Karen and Seps episode, because there's just not enough information to really justify an episode. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, no content.
Yeah. There's just not enough content, where I guess we could do like a Werewolf miscellaneous episode, but you know, like we got like compile all the information that we don't have like enough information for a Werewolf the Apocalypse episode of this information by itself.
Yeah, you need an encyclopedia for that shit, bro.
Let's see here. So I guess I'll just get the rest of this episode to talk to you. So H3, would you consider bringing Project Twilight as it is as a campaign?
I actually do like Project Twilight. I like the themes of it, of like paranoia, government conspiracy, mortal versus immortal. Like, I like the themes of it.
Yeah, taking the red pill for the first time.
Taking the red pill, like being a Joe Schmo from the streets, being basically Men in Black, to root it, scan to see you're not a ghoul, and then being like, yup, that's your life now. If you tell anybody, we sanction you.
Like, you're looking around and you're thinking, like, what's going on with me? I thought I was going to be hunting aliens, but instead I'm hunting werewolves and vampires. What's going on here? And then you slowly begin to realize what's going on. Imagine just how mind-blown SAD would be the minute they found out that antediluvians were a thing.
Bro, they would go nuclear.
Like, dude, the minute they found out that Zimichi is in the Carpathian Mountains, and that he's got his cells in every single human organism, you're fucked when you realize that. You can't do anything about that. Or
kill yourself and become space.
Or you've got La Sombra stewing in the ocean, gaining power so he can blot out the sun and cause another week of nightmares. Or Set, who's waiting to be revived, and once he does, he's going to take all of his followers and teleport to another planet that he apparently knows about.
Or Anoia, she's the Earth. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
You killed Earth?
Like, I'm trying to think of like what antediluvian they would be able to handle, like beyond Augustus Giovanni. But probably Ilias, because you know she's just got no motivation for anything. You could just walk up and shoot her and she's not going to stop you.
That's the true Bruja, right?
Yes.
I think as well. I think what was the name? Ericil? I think they could handle Ericil.
Well, would you want to shoot something that beautiful?
Yeah, but if you send a drone in with a nuke,
We'll have a robot task force take out Ericil.
Yeah, the androids. To send them in there. Or hit marks.
She didn't anticipate that. She didn't think she was going to get terminated.
Yeah, you see a hit mark with the power level of the Ravnos antediluvian. Being standing there getting steamrolled by a bunch of hit marks.
Or what, they found out that Absimiliard is real, and they just get their mind fucking cooked to like realize, oh, you mean that Russia was being controlled by the Nosferatu antediluvian this entire time? So it was just a giant country built off the back of evil and nothing but evil? And we were completely justified in the Cold War?
Nosferatu?
Wouldn't they think it's strange? Like, do they know about the Shadow Veil? Would they have known, like, at some point that for just a period of time, no vampire werewolf could cross the Russian border? And that just wasn't strange at all?
I don't think they know shit, bro.
No,
I think they know 10%.
It goes to show that the U.S. government has no idea about the Masquerade in other countries. They just know about what's going on in America. Like they don't know about Mithras in London. They don't know about the death cults of the Sabbat in South America. They don't know about the Antediluvians. They don't know about the Kuei Jin. All this stuff that they still don't know about. Like you also notice that Risen and Mummies didn't pop up once in this entire book.
I think that's either because they weren't written yet, or they just refuse to believe they exist.
Yeah, that's right. Like, they're saying like mummies. The mummies are trying to kill us. Like we had kings and queens in England eating mummies. Why would we be scared of mummies?
No, we have demons. For real? Something before Jesus Christ? What the?
They find out that demon fallen is real, and by extension, Jesus Christ existed.
Yeah, or just imagine confronting him with those like, bro, this guy predated Jesus Christ. What the fuck we're supposed to do about him?
You meet Lazarus in the flesh in America.
Yeah.
And like Lazarus tells you a story about the time he told Cappadocius to fuck off. All these other stories.
Yeah. It'd be like, what the fuck are we supposed to do about a guy who just Jesus help, or he's just immortal? What the fuck are we supposed to do?
Just how much like you gotta think of like how many members of SAD just had to quit their job and walk away from it because their brains were just broken.
I don't think any, bro, because one of the agents has a fucking kill switch for any agent that fucking abandoned them.
We got like some sort of like dirty bomb planted in a J. Edgar Hoover building.
Yeah, because the book, basically, technocracy has the control of the entire government. They have a special agent there who has a kill switch to anyone who abandons them or snitches on them.
Yes.
So if you do anything, you're gonna get a lot of fucking technocrats on your ass.
And the problem will solve itself.
Yeah. By the way, there was a fun fact in this book. Apparently, if you have 3 noumena or 3 points in noumena, you are immune to delirium.
And that's fantastic, actually.
Yeah, I think they need it because they don't go insane from watching a werewolf kill them.
You just don't immediately start spazzing out and run off and screaming. Yet you actually get to confront the werewolves that have infiltrated your companies.
Yeah, and you don't just go, I saw a Sasquatch, and nobody believes you anyway.
Because when I look at delirium, I usually think it's not that big of a deal until I remember that the BSDs exist. Where... Yeah, it would be useful if the government could help us fight the BSDs. But, you know, that they'd probably get suckered into as something. Like, Pentex already has them on like a carrot on a string. So, I don't think them find out about BSDs. The minute they find out about Pentex, and Pentex will probably tell them, oh, these are our werewolves. These are the good werewolf. And they get suckered into that.
Yeah, they give them cheeseburgers and they become more tainted instantly.
Here, we'll if you guys leave the BSDs alone, we'll give you our own coffee and burgers and donuts for lunch every day.
Yeah, don't ask about where it came from. You don't want to know.
And now all of a sudden you got all these like sweaty, greasy, obese agents just dripping oil out of the folds of their fat. Well, trying to hunt werewolves.
One day he's normal, one day he's fat, one day he's a gorehound.
Yeah, one day he's a burger man. He's shooting hot grease out of his armpits.
Bro, he looks like a fucking cheese monster.
It is. I'm looking at Ryan. Why are you watching the Super Bowl, dog? I can't believe it. I can't believe Colin Ryan called out for this shit.
Enraptured by Superbowl.
Enraptured by this fixed fucking game, the Taylor Swift show. Oh man. There's a reason I don't watch football anymore, dude. It's like I was over at my uncle's house. I was watching a Broncos game. I felt like just reaching up and like strangling the referee through the TV because every single play that happened on the field got a yellow flag. I'm thinking, like, dog, can we just play the fucking game already instead of just everything being a penalty? What, every flag you throw out, you get $20. So you're just gonna
yeah, bad.
So you're just gonna throw out the flag and the flag only.
Yeah, imagine. I'd any sports at all, not even music. So.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, thought of something. I just thought of something. Let's see, look at this. Are you familiar with a game called Delta Green?
Yes, from Call of Cthulhu. Right?
Yeah, it's like a sister game to Call of Cthulhu, but it's not quite the same system. Um, how similar is Project Twilight to Delta Green to you?
50 to 60% similar in in that aspect.
Yeah,
I think.
because I'm in a Delta Green game right now. I'm finally getting a chance to play this, and we've all made characters already. Where the character I made is Navy SEAL, where I'm the only character in our party. It's got a decent health score that knows how to use weapons. I went all in on melee weapons just for the just for the meme, and then everyone else decided they wanted to pick office workers and public safety. So,
Ooh.
and that's a game where you're directly dealing with aliens. That this is the Men in Black RPG, what we're looking at, but it's not that different from Project Twilight when you come to think of it. Feels like
Yeah, they have differences for sure.
yeah, feels like yeah. If World of Darkness ever did make that alien game, we could end up having like some sort of like Delta Green kind of crossover with it, right? Because after all, they did cross over with Cyberpunk 2020 back in the day.
Yeah, future World of Darkness.
Look at this. I swear it's like if I type in what was it like World of Darkness alien game, I swear they were making one of these before. Thank you, Gemini. I did not want you to answer that. Okay. I swear they were making a game like this once in time because I remember seeing like concept art of like an alien game being made, but no, that's not it. But like wouldn't that have also been like fucking epic too, like an Alien World of Darkness game, where as it turns out like gods, angels, and all this other stuff is real. We might as well just throw aliens into the mix as well. Where
It was really weird when they established Metaplot, but it could make it work. They could be just Umbra Spirit.
like God is like a literal alien entity, and so are all the angels. And that's where like the alien myth of like the Nords come from, and L. Ron Hubbard met with one of the angels, and that's where he got the idea for Scientology. Some crazy shit like that.
It could be, but with aliens, it kind of messes with the metaplot a bit because
yeah, like if we take an already messy metaplot and make it even more messier, it was already a struggle to put Demon of Fallen into the metaplot. Imagine putting aliens into the game.
Bro, we have Mummy now.
We have Mummy. Like the will of existence itself is bringing people back from the dead and saying you must destroy the worm in order to finally die.
Basically, and they can't be killed. Literally, they can. I remember you saying in the episode, they can all be killed by a nuke.
And that's it. You have to completely destroy the body and the soul in order for the mummy to die and stay dead.
Vaporized, like in Hiroshima, basically become dust, like shadow.
You gotta get guys like the Ravnos and Toluvian to handle that shit for you.
Bro, Ravnos is
you don't think Ravnos is gonna come back?
Ravnos is either alive, but he made a creation from chemistry, or he's been completely eviscerated or vaporized, basically.
I'm of the theory that he's hiding somewhere, because this is like this guy who's built his legacy on a foundation of lies. He's probably hiding somewhere.
Yeah, if he survived the flood, I think he maybe could survive this as well.
He's Generation 2. Like I know Jenner tells me, Ravnos is a bullshitter. He's probably not Generation 2. I'm of the idea that he is. If the Sun Destroyers can back up that fact where the Sun Destroyers can talk with their ancestors again, we'll ask them about it. But
yeah, good. Well,
yeah,
maybe that's how he.
Yeah, I subscribe to a G2 idea. That's what I like to believe Ravnos is.
And if he was Gen 2 and technocracy basically made him disappear, either alive or dead, imagine what they can do with the third generation vampire.
The 3 gens, where our one hope of fighting Lasombra and Zamichi is gone.
Yeah, but we're talking about technocracy. I think they can find a way to deal with...
Well, we still have Hakeem. We still have him.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the very least. The sandstorm.
Yeah. And as well, if the government has the imbue on their side, they could head squad.
Imagine that, like God's angels appear before the federal government and say, "This is what you need to save your country," and how many neocon Republicans would take that idea and say, manifest destiny all over again. We are indeed God's chosen people. We're a strange city on the hill.
Yeah, finally we've been chosen.
We've been chosen by God himself. And you got,
Yeah, well,
like, you have Lindsey Graham come out after he gets imbued.
yeah, imagine he's like, my brothers have been chosen by the Lord, and I shall forge our destiny ahead.
We got more Russian vampires dying than ever before. It's the best money we ever spent. Praise God.
These vampires were Nazis. They made Heimlich Himmler one of them. They need to go down.
They really did. To comment Shamir L. with Heinrich Himmler.
Imagine if Hitler, they made him what?
Oh, that would be an absolute catastrophe. Yeah, you ever play Persona 2, by the way?
No, but I've heard of it.
Yeah. Nyarlathotep from Cthulhu is the main villain of that game, and he appears as Adolf Hitler in that game. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he just goes around, it's Hitler in a pair of sunglasses with a mustache and a trench coat, and that's what he goes around as.
Oh, bro, they didn't give a fuck back then.
No, that 90s anime, dude.
No, it was actually cool that they did it. They weren't afraid of
Like I know Persona 3 and 4 are fantastic games, but Persona 2, even though that game has got some stank to it, it's a really funky RPG to get into. It's probably got the best story out of all of them, and dead ass, just straight up. It is done a lot to inspire the kind of games I make.
Yeah, it is actually fairly written well, but at the same time.
It's Japanese cosmic horrors, essentially what it is.
Yeah, basically. And with Shin Megami Tensei as well in the mix.
Yeah, you're a big fan of that story too?
I know of the games. I know that the plot, the basics of the plot, I think, and that's it. But I know of it, yeah. I think it was for Persona.
I tell you what, dude, like SMT3 is one of the best RPGs you'll ever play in your life. It really is just that good of a game. I've never played an RPG that has challenged me on the same level as SMT3.
Oh, cool. Maybe it's good. By the way, I just want to ask, if you're gonna do Hunter's Hunted 1 or 2 or
we got plans for that. It's not gonna be this month, but it's gonna be eventually.
Yeah, or HunterNet as well. I actually do want to actually join that one.
Oh yeah, because I've got more stuff I want to do with Hunter the Reckoning. We're going to get more. We're going to get further into it. I want to get some mage stuff done first because mage is going to be the live play we do right after Rage Across Russia, which is why I'm getting a lot of mage content pumped out while we can. Where March we're going to go hard on mage. Where I think we might have like a whole month of mage. We'll call it Mage March or something like that. But I think that's enough for one episode for tonight. I don't know. What, you got any more ideas? All right. So next episode is going to be crazy, guys. We're doing the Valkenburg Foundation for real this time. We're not rescheduling the Valkenburg episode. We're going to do it for real. We're going to talk about the insane werewolves and how to treat them. And we're going to talk about Samuel Haight again.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about Samuel Haight, dude. I made a whole video talking about how stupid that plot point was.
It is stupid, but at the same time, it is kind of cool. Character.
You tried to bridge this many ideas together.
Yeah, he's basically the protagonist of the World of Darkness.
Yeah, basically does become the main character.
He has everyone's powers in this point. He just have the drawbacks of it.
Let's see here. Greed, wake the fuck up! Samurai, we got seed to burn. No, he's out. He's out. He's gone.
Yeah, I think he's in another dimension.
He's narcoleptic is what he is. He's not here to defend himself. He can say whatever he wants.
Nah.
All right. So thank you so much for coming out for this episode today, 3.
You're welcome.
It was a delight. You're welcome back, and we're going to end the episode before Rant can join. There it is. You get shit today, Ryan. This is what you get for watching the Super Bowl like a schmuck. All right.
Basically,
All right.
him.
Let's see. I'm not going back to look at the scorecard. I'm not going back to look at that shit. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
All right.